Hey and howdy, folks. Here I am, Coach Mike Mack here, along with Whiskey Geo. We are another week. I don't even know how many weeks been doing this. We've been having some fun. We enjoy doing these. Hope you guys enjoy listening. I know we've gotten some good comments back this week. Oh, this week. If
Get your ass in gear.
exactly. If it's over, get your ass in gear. Stop thinking that you've got time to do whatever, and don't underestimate your ex. She's
No,
got plans, she's got secrets, she's got things she's doing that you're probably not aware of.
she doesn't have secrets. So
No secrets?
okay. So
Okay,
a couple of
let's
things.
get
First of all, usual disclaimer: this is not legal advice. All right. This is
got
two
it.
guys who have been to hell and back. We're on the devil's speed dial list, and we're just trying to share shit with you to make it easier for you.
Exactly.
The second thing is we never bash the opposites
No.
because too much shit happens in both directions, but we just take the approach of trying to help guys.
There you go. Now, let me preface this by saying I spent 24 years in a marriage, and then suddenly, without notice to me, she's gone with the kids. And I'm not sure that fits in here.
No, because
Yep.
so here's the thing. In hindsight, sorry for my voice this morning, guys. In hindsight, you missed key factors.
Oh, yeah.
Blinded by love, blinded by whatever the hell
Exactly.
it was.
Yep.
But you're right. It's not the point of this show.
Because
The point of this show is for the guys where the talks have started to happen.
So you're starting to talk about separation, divorce.
I can't do this no more. I want out. I want a new change. And here's where the problem lies. Okay? And guys, do not fault yourselves. This is when we're programmed before we, the programming that we get when we come out of our mother, this is ingrained in us. Okay? This is a problem that we have. I'm not happy. I want a new start, this and that. The woman says, I need to start planning my shit. The guy's like, it'll be okay. So what happens is,
Yep.
so it's all about perception, right? Reality is she wants out. She starts planning her next chapter. She's
She
starting
does.
to look at lawyers. She's starting to look at custody. She's starting to look at alimony. Like
she's got her mind motor already rolling.
The guy, it's like, well, we're still together. We have a chance. And we have this like thought pattern of it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay,
It's gonna be
it's
fine.
gonna be okay. Then what happens? It's no longer okay. So she serves you with divorce papers.
The shit hits the fan.
And then what's the immediate reaction? That bitch.
Yeah.
No.
Or we go into panic. Or we go into panic mode.
Right. And this is where women get this like bad rap of being, and don't get me wrong, okay, there's a percentage of women that are just out to kill their ex.
And there's a percentage of men. There's a percentage of men that are just plain assholes.
Okay. So we're going to take out the 10% on each side and we're going to play in the 80% in the middle. She's preparing the next phase of her life, and we are the dumb, hopeful bastards that think that things are going to work out.
Blinded by love.
And look, I'm guilty of it.
Same here.
And if I get into the story of my father, whoo, boy, the torment that my father went through because he had blind love for my Like it was those when you see those comedy shows where like the woman's like da, 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 and the guy's like, okay, that's the love my father had for my mother. All right.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. They're getting ready for their next chapter. They're loading up. They're getting the information. We remain hopeful and we do nothing. And then what happens? We get served with papers, and we don't know how the fuck to react. Why? A divorce is a marathon. However, the marathon starts when one of you two says, I'm not happy anymore.
Right. That's the beginning of the trek.
So here's the thing. The woman takes off jogging. The guy pitches a tent and has a barbecue.
Yeah. It's okay. We're going to still do the same stuff.
We're going to figure it out.
We're going to have a beer.
Because the whole
Whiskey.
thinking is as long as she's still in the home, as long as there's still dialogue. But here's the thing. She's getting ready.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
And let's say in the best case scenario, you guys fix things. Well, fine. She'll put that file away. She'll keep it in storage.
She has it ready to bring the plan. The plan is already formed.
So men are like, that bitch. Why? Luck favors the prepared. Why do women kick our ass in divorce court? Because they're fucking more prepared.
They're way more prepared. They are detail-oriented planners. They look ahead. They look ahead.
And look at the timing, right? It's the NFL draft for any of you football fans out there, right? So teams are looking to build for the future, and they're putting the key places and the best pieces in place.
Yep.
And they're planning for the future. That's a woman that's loading up for divorce.
Exactly.
Guys are that team that doesn't have the proper scouts, that doesn't ask the right questions, and that even though they're picking in the top 5 for 10 fucking years, never get out anywhere. My heart goes out to Browns and Giants fans. Okay? I'm stirring a little shit, and I shouldn't because I'm a Steelers fan and we don't have a fucking quarterback. But hey, but luck favors the prepared. And guys, think about it for a second, okay? Because we are analytical fuckers, okay? We know how it is. When our wife comes to us with a problem, we don't want to listen to the problem. We want to provide a solution.
We go straight to fixing.
It's like, if you're talking to me, it's because you want a resolution. If you don't want to fix it, go talk to a girlfriend, right?
Yeah. I've said this before. I've told my wife, I'm not your girlfriend. And probably one of the worst things I probably could have said. You know what I mean? It probably turned
Wrong. It's one of the best things that you can say.
Okay, tell me why, Gio.
Because you're being honest about what it is that you're going to deliver. Baby, if you want to talk to me, you come to me because you want a resolution. If you just want a bitch, go talk to a friend.
There you go. Now,
and there's nothing wrong with that, because then it's always he doesn't understand me. We're not there to understand. We're there to fix. Men inherently, as the protector, the provider, and everything else, alpha male, masculine energy, and all that horse shit.
Yeah.
We are there to provide. We're
built that way.
We're built that way. Baby, you got a problem? Let's fix it. Oh, there's a bitch at work. Can we get her fired? Or can you find a new job? Like, it's...
Right.
We'll listen to you, but men need a solution somewhere. We're not trained. We're not programmed to be emotional beings. And that's fine, because there's ways to be in touch with your emotions and your feelings and everything else. But the one thing that men will never be is repetitive listeners.
Repetitive listeners.
Repetitive listeners. And
hearing
repetitive listeners means Julie at your work is a bitch. And every day she pisses you off.
And every
I
day
don't want to hear about Julie being a bitch because, baby, you know what? You're an adult,
we got it the first time.
right? We got it. Julie's a bitch. Like, it's, you can put that banner up in your house. But a man is going to listen to this and he's going to be stonewalled, and the only thing he's thinking is, how do we get rid of her?
Okay,
How do
so
we change? How do we change the situation, make it better? So when we get to the couple and there's an argument, first of all, okay, I want to be clear on this. Divorce coach. I work with family law attorneys when it comes to promoting their services. And I'm not breaking privilege on anything, okay? But let me tell you something. The number one cause of divorce is lack of communication.
simple as that.
We don't fuck. You're not communicating. He does nothing in the house. You're not communicating. She tries to manage me. You're not communicating. It all boils down to the same
Open, honest communication.
Now, I'm not happy. I can't go on like this. She is communicating to you that she is now planning the next step without you.
She's planning the exit.
She's not a bitch. She's not conniving. She's getting ready.
Yep.
We are the ones that are like, it's gonna be okay. And guys, I've been through it twice.
Yeah. I'm on my
God knows
second.
how many
I'm
friends
in
I've
the
helped
middle
through
of
it.
my second one. So yeah, I'm right behind you, Gio.
So, you know, and the joke that I always make is like, I've been married twice because I didn't learn the first time. But you know, like, Jesus Christ, like, between us two, bro, we got like 4 divorces going. Like, I think we've
Yeah.
become excellent. You know,
And Gio, and you're out there dating,
hold on a second. So the
right?
joke is, I use my love life as work experience.
Okay, say that again.
I use my love life as work experience. I've done everything wrong possible. I've seen the way it affects, and the thing is that I stopped, I took a step back, and I realized all this. So moving forward, I don't foresee a third divorce, and I might see a third marriage, but I don't foresee a third divorce because I know exactly what I want. I apologize. Go ahead with your point.
No, I just I lost the train of thought now, but what you're just saying now though is I was just saying that you're out there dating, that you're putting yourself out there again, and that you just answered it. You've learned. You've grown. And
Yep.
now you've got boundaries. You have your I don't know what I want to say specifications.
I
You
do.
have
I have my checklist.
your checklist.
You know, you know, when I meet the man of my life, this is the checklist that he needs. I got my own checklist now. I learned. I listened, women. I've got my. But again, it all boils down to, for the reason of this show, it's communication. Guys, if she's telling you that she's unhappy, she's starting to look at life beyond. It doesn't mean that the marriage is over, but I'm talking about she's starting to make plan B. And I'm hated for the same reason that I'm loved. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. I'm hated for the same reason that I'm loved, whether it's in business, whether it's personal, because my specialty is putting people in front of the mirror and saying, look.
Yep.
And I'm always able to find it. So when she's telling you I'm not happy, the alarm bells are ringing.
Big
And
time.
you got to take it seriously.
And it's not on her.
It's on us.
It's on us. It's on the guy. It's on the man.
Why do you think? So here's a question for you, right? And guys, if you're listening to this, either live or in a recording, why do you think there's such an unbalance in the amount of women that file for divorce versus men?
Oh, why?
Because women communicate it, we don't listen to it, and then they get fed up.
Then they implement their exit strategy.
And the thing is that, one question that I often get asked is it better to file first or file second? The truth is, it doesn't fucking matter who files. They're both going for divorce, right? No judge is going to look at it and say, Mr. Mack, you filed first, so you
First,
have the advantage. You're starting on the power play. Like, it doesn't work that way. But what happens is one is proactive and the other one is reactive. And
true.
when you got to react, brother, you are behind the fucking 8 ball.
Yep.
Because she can go through 6 months of preparing. And guys, we know this in the majority of cases, right? No matter what the careers or whatever is going on, women are the home. And God bless the guys who are heavily involved. But and I'm talking about in the majority of cases, okay? Women, men always come out with that perception of being the homemakers. The guys are the providers. The guys are the ones that are going to go do 40 hours of overtime.
Yep.
The guys are the ones that are going to spend the weekend building the deck, fixing the roof, this and that, whatever, right?
That's it.
We take that time away from the kids because we're providing for our family. And God bless the men who fucking do that. Here's the bitch. When you go to court, you get painted as the guy who's away from his family.
Yep. Exactly.
So all we're doing here, Mike, is having an honest fucking conversation. If there is unhappiness in the couple, start planning. And there's two things that can happen if you start. First of all, if you're smart enough, you're going to start realizing all the shit that's truly going wrong in your marriage. And if you want to fix it, hey, here's your opportunity.
There it is.
If you start looking at the possibility of breaking up, shit, I have been working 40 hours of overtime. Shit, I haven't taken my wife out on a date. Shit, I don't do this thing with the kids anymore. I don't do that, right? So you can start becoming self-aware of problems and try to fix it.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, you're gaining the information for how to get ready should something happen. Mike, do you know how many times I get a conversation with a guy who's like, I think I need a divorce lawyer, and then they wait.
And then they what?
And then they wait.
They wait?
Yeah.
Ooh.
They know it's over.
Probably.
And then they wait.
Probably what? At least half.
Over half.
More than half.
It's a disgusting amount, over half.
Wow.
They wait. They're like, I have to see I'm going to wait, I'm going to see, and this and that. And then what happens is I get the other call. Fuck. I got slapped with domestic violence charge.
Right.
Whether it's real or not, right? Because to get a protective order, you have to show a minimal amount of fear, and it'll be granted, at least temporarily.
Right.
And again, I'm not talking about the 10% who are assholes here. I'm talking about the 80% that get themselves fucked over because they just don't think. But it ends up being a part of strategy.
Well, how much of that, though, happens in the reaction to what's happening? You know, the guy blows up. The guy blows up, as you know, and that
the guy blows up, and even if he doesn't, getting a protective order charge, you know what happens with that? You're looking at.
You're talking about behind the 8 ball, but it's more than that.
Behind the. You're talking like how many guys do I speak to that are, don't have 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 45, $50,000 to spend on the lawyer.
Right.
Gets slapped with a protective order. It's going to cost you 10 grand to get out of it.
Oof.
Talk about being behind the fucking 8 ball. That 10 grand could have paid for a large part of your divorce.
Right.
But because you wanted to wait, because the argument continued to blow up, at a certain point, and don't get me wrong, when it's a bullshit domestic violence charge, it sucks, but it still costs you money.
And it does
To those who actually do it, right, where it comes from them, and fine, like that. Those are totally valid. But again, that's the other 10%. But when a DV charge comes in, it's 10 grand. It takes you away from the kids. It takes you away from the marital home.
Right.
And you get chop blocked at the knees before anything ever starts. And now you're reactive, and now you're freaking out over the cost of it.
To where if you would have, like we title of the show of get your ass in gear basically from the get-go. I've heard you say it before, Gio. It's like, don't wait.
You wait too long.
Don't wait.
Wait too long, and then it just puts her at a strategic advantage. Right? And again, we're not back. Personally, again, when it comes to sports, I love teams that are prepared. I do. Okay?
Right.
Because the teams that are prepared are the ones that win, are the ones that we respect.
Absolutely.
Career-wise, those who are prepared, those who put in the work, are the ones that, earn the fruit of the tree that they plant. The same thing comes in divorce. The ones that are more strategically prepared.
I gotta put some. There's a metaphor that's been stirring up here for a little bit, because I know you're a Formula One guy, right, Gio?
Yeah.
And what's it take? I mean, what's the reason for the race? I mean, why are all these guys in there for the race? Is it just to survive? I mean, I know there's a show that Drive to
There's
Survive.
the show Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive. And we've got a podcast right here, Drive to Thrive. But the point of that race is to win. Right?
Mike, what the fuck are we living for if we're not in this to win?
Boom. Boom. And so when you say get your ass in gear, I mean, you talked about, a sports team, but I'd like to take it more personal, because I know you're a huge Formula. I'm not big into racing, but hey, I know that, I've got an inner big rig, but I can also have an inner race car for me. I've got a mind motor, a transmission, and a rear end, or an ass. And getting the ass in gear has to do with the power of the mind, the passion of the heart, and the purpose of the rear end of being able to roll.
And when you look at Formula One teams, right, like you've got the high-level teams, you've got the mid-level. So winning is different for every team depending on the budget.
Right.
But it's all the preparation that goes behind it. And these guys are never satisfied. They always want more, but these guys are putting in the work every fucking day.
Exactly.
Go out. And so when we look at our personal lives, why are we not, like, why? Man, I want you to have this reflection. Why do we take this I'm going to wait and see approach?
It's like they stay in the pit.
They do.
Right? They just stay there idling.
So, actually, you know what? That made me think of a point. So, here's the way it is. Those who want to win, women, right? Because they are more proactive in this. They are like the Red Bull, the McLaren, and the Ferrari of this year, and the Mercedes, where they're going to do everything possible in their planning, take a look at strategy. Hey, it's going to rain for 3 minutes on the track. How's it going to affect our tire grip? How is it going to affect this? How's it going to affect that?
See, now that.
So they start looking at every single different angle.
That's right, because in a race car, there's so many different things that you can adjust, right? For traction, for power,
And they're
all of
looking
it.
at all the variables, right? There's a reason why Pirelli sends 3 sets of tires for every race, because it includes historically on the grip of the track, on the weather, all the different factors are kept into place. So
Wow.
it's when you're planning your race, it's like you got to look at all these factors and you got to figure out the exact strategy to be able to win and what's acceptable and what isn't. Then you have the bottom feeder teams that they're still putting in the preparation and the this and the that, but they know that if they're going to win, they have to hope to God that the 19 cars in front of them get struck by lightning, explode, get stuck in reverse,
Right.
run into each other, and then maybe they have like a snowball's chance in hell of making it to the podium.
Right.
Luck favors the prepared. Stop fucking waiting. And let me be clear on something. Getting prepared, getting the information doesn't mean you're actually going through a divorce.
Ooh.
But
That.
you're starting to set down the guideline. Now here's the other thing. And this is something that I explained to potential clients. Just because you hire an attorney doesn't mean you're filing for divorce. But you're talking strategy, right? So the first thing that
Right.
you
So.
have with an attorney is you have what's called a legal strategy meeting, where it's like, this is all the shit that's going wrong, and if things go to hell in a handbasket, this is what I want.
Right. And so you've already, like, the planning is there.
The planning is there. So the
You,
thing is that now you have 2 options. You have your strategy. So your attorney can now guide you and say, look, if ABC happens, we're going to go with DEF. If DEF
yep.
happens, we're going to go with that, right? But
So.
at the very least, you're ready. You're that boxer who's now ready for the divorce to come towards you, and you're ready to react. You may not file. You may have negotiations and fix things.
Right.
But at the very least, you are ready for whatever happens or whatever comes down the pipe.
That is.
And guys, you know what? Here's the whole thing, right? When it comes to we're starting to be unhappy and you go out and you get an attorney consultation to start like building your plan, you start looking at what the possibilities are when it comes to custody. Well, if shit hits the fan, what do I need to do to protect my kids?
Right.
How much is this going to cost me? So if you get slapped with divorce papers and you need to come up with 10 G's fast, you're screwed. But if you've taken 6 months to talk about this
Yep.
and
I
you
see where
hire
you're
an
going.
attorney for a consultation, then it's like, okay, well, you know, take a look at everything that's going on, how much it could potentially cost. Now you start thinking in your mind, finances. How do I plan it? Shit, it's going to cost a lot of money.
You got an extra rig that you can sell. Do you have,
Mom, dad, I'm
stuff?
potentially heading for divorce. Can you
Yep.
help me out?
Help.
If stuff hits the fan, start building around you. You have
Yep.
no idea how many parents and friends and shit that I speak to on behalf of clients where they're like, look, Timmy's getting divorced. It's going to cost him an arm and a leg. Can you provide the arm?
Right.
And it's all in preparation. But I'm sorry to say it, and may I get vilified in the group, and may I get vilified on social media, I don't give a shit. Guys are getting their ass handed to them because they are not ready.
I know I did. For
I'm going
years,
to
I
repeat
wasn't
it.
ready. I wasn't ready. I was behind the 8 ball the whole way through. And
I'm going to repeat it. Men, you are having your ass handed to you because you are not ready. And I'm talking about in the majority of cases. I know
Right.
that there are guys out there that are prepared and this and that. And even though you're prepared, you never know what happened. And I want to be clear, I've seen shit go sideways for both men and women. But working in family law, having gone through my own divorces, having gone through my own breakups, having helped a shit ton of people through this, it always comes down to the same goddamn thing. It's all a part of preparation.
Preparation.
If you go, like, no one in any no one says my team sucks, but by hope and prayer we're gonna have a good season. You don't have the driver, you don't have the quarterback, you don't have the running back, but I think we have a chance to. No, you don't.
No, that's
You
the
need to have that
snowball's
elite
chance.
preparation. Why do these guys from college go first overall? Because their work ethic is beyond fucking reproach.
Yep.
It's all in the preparation.
They're
The
ready.
devil is in the details.
They're ready. They're prepared.
They're ready for whatever comes. And guys, your number one problem in divorce is that you are not ready.
Yep.
And people say, like, how the hell do I get ready? You know, when I speak to men, when they're talking about potential divorce and the shit that I go through, it scares the fuck out of them even more. And it's supposed to. Because I start telling them, like, do you have the money? Do you have the representation? What is it that you want? And it's funny because funny, sad, whatever way you want. When I speak to women, women know exactly what they want when it comes to divorce. I want the kids, I want alimony, I want child support, I want the. Why? Because they've informed themselves and they know what they want. When I speak to guys,
they've done the planning.
Gio, what do you think is a good ask for custody? The fuck are you asking me for? When do you want to see your kids? What do you mean you don't know? And then you wonder why you're having your ass handed to you.
Yep.
Because you're not prepared. You're not willing to have that discussion. And then when you're forced to have that discussion, you freak out. And again, I can't tell you how many times it's happened, Mike, where it's like, I want to get divorced. Okay, but I'm not ready now. Okay. Check in 2 weeks later. Dude, are you ready to move forward? I'm going to wait a little bit more.
Wow.
2 weeks later. Oh, shit, I got slapped with a domestic violence charge. Why? Because things are getting worse and worse and worse, and you two are fucking gearing up against each other.
Yep.
And then you blow a gasket, and it could even be half a gasket.
It doesn't.
But that half a gasket is what she fucking needs to put herself at the advantage.
Yep.
Let's not shit ourselves, okay? The ones who are fans of old school sports, what was our number one strategy when it came to defense? There's the star player, put him in pain. It's strategy.
Yep.
And it's and fuck, man, for men who are such sports fans and don't get the analogy. I played soccer for 25 years. I was a defender and I was a fucking pain in the ass. When I would go up to forwards at the beginning of the game, hey, for the next 90 minutes, you're my bitch.
Getting in their head.
And I said it with a smile.
Oh, yeah.
But then whenever they would get closer to me, it's funny. My shoulder would tense up. I'd stumble and like get right into their path and like make them trip over. Right? We'd get a corner and I'd get like right in front of the goalie and like start rubbing myself up against them. Why? It pissed them off.
Right.
And when it pissed them off, guess what happens? They got sanctions. They got the yellow cards, fouls, whatever the fuck it is.
Off your game.
It's the same thing. They're looking for an advantage. They're looking for something to push them ahead of you. And you, who is not prepared and who just reacts, give it to them.
Wow. So good. We're at 35 minutes, my man. How does the time go that quick? I'm telling you. Time flies when you're having fun.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So
if it's over, get your ass in gear. That's it. I
And
mean,
if it's not over, but there's the potential of it being over, start looking.
yeah,
Guys, not for nothing, okay? Look, and I'm gonna end on this when it comes to preparation, right? Because I heavily recommend you speaking with attorneys, and we have a show in our log about how to pick an attorney,
absolutely.
right? But I want you to be very careful. Opinions are like assholes, everybody's got one.
Yep.
And my divorce and your divorce are completely different. So I cannot come to you for guidance on what happened in your divorce for it to affect mine. There's too many different variables. The kids, the
Absolutely.
ages, the type of relationship, what's going on behind closed doors, this and that. So you can
It's
ask all the fucking questions you want, but your buddy cannot guide you on this. This is why look for go and listen to the show about picking an attorney.
so good too. That show was like eye opener for me.
And pay the consult fee to get. I don't give a shit if it costs you $500.
That's
Come away,
pennies.
come away with real information, because when that divorce is going to cost you that $450, $500 investment in a consult could be the difference between a divorce costing you $10,000 and $75,000 because you're prepared.
Because you're prepared, because you've already got a plan in place, knowing what could happen and being, the difference between reacting and responding, because
So,
you've already got
guys,
a plan.
so I know I said that this was my final point. Now, this is truly my final point. It sucks. Okay. It really, really sucks going through a divorce. I get it. I've been there. At the end of the day, you stay on the hopes and dreams of things being able to get fixed, while she's like, I've had enough. I have to start looking at my next chapter. And she is not wrong for looking at her next chapter because she's unhappy. No one would recommend to their friend to stay in a situation where they're not happy.
Very true.
But she's planning and you're not. And then when the hammer drops, you're so far behind the fucking 8 ball that catching up is painful and it's expensive. And if you make the wrong move from a reactionary point on top of it, you're giving her more and more advantage. You loved this woman at a certain point. Fantastic. But now, for whatever reason, you two cannot be together anymore, and she wants to be happy and she's entitled to it. Her definition of happiness is going to be different than your definition of happiness.
Absolutely.
And you cannot go based on that love to think that, oh, things are going to go right. No, she doesn't owe you anything, because if you're going to become her ex, she doesn't owe you shit. She wants what she wants, you want what you want, and you two have to fucking figure it out.
Exactly.
But you cannot get mad at her for laying down her rules.
So
And I
good.
know
Okay.
that fucking hurts.
It
But
hurts.
guys,
It's deep.
the devil is in the details. Luck favors the prepared. And if you're not prepared and you have your ass handed to you in court, I'm sorry to say this, and I love each and every brother in this fucking group, but the reason for the loss is staring back at you in the mirror.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Amen to that, Gio. Man, another one for the books. Such a good one,
Good.
Gio. I appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you too, brother. And I know you've got the Monday mindsets going.
Oh, that's right. Where are you on the old Whiskey Wednesdays?
Not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday I'm starting it. I'm
So
doing
the
all the
first Wednesday of May, then.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
I'm gonna do every Wednesday night. I'm gonna do a live, and I'm gonna start posting it in the group and providing this kind of coaching counseling for free. And then, because that's our goal with this group, is to provide free content for guys to reflect and help and
Absolutely.
we're not here to sell our services. You know,
Nope.
obviously our services are available, but we want to provide so much free content that you should be able to get at the very least a base guideline.
Thus, the
And
podcast, the guidelines, the posts that we put out, it will get bigger and better.
all it is, my brother.
All
So
right.
thank you to everyone for tuning in.
Yep. Thank you all. And we shall see you next week, same time, same station.
Exactly.
All right, Gio.
Peace out, brother.